welcome to Night Callers Bigfoot Radio. You're here with your hosts, Lauren Smith and Dustin Clark. How are you doing tonight, Dustin?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing tonight, Lauren?
Fabulous. Fabulous. You enjoying this Arctic weather we're having?
Of course. Yeah, no, when we were out this past weekend camping, like, that's the best sleeping out in the freezing temperatures.
Mhm. Yeah, no. I'm not about
it?
this weather. Like, I can't stand it. I will be completely honest. I hate it. Every time I go outside, I just, like, shiver like a little lost chihuahua. I'm pitiful. I am pitiful in the cold. We did, so like Dustin said, we did go out this past weekend researching, and thankfully, I hate saying this out loud because I know he's going to get all excited, but Michael Waldy saved the day and lent me a pair of coveralls, and that saved my life. That's the only way I was able to keep researching because I was so cold.
Yeah, she looked like the little brother from A Christmas Story, where she could barely put her arms up or down.
I couldn't. I could barely, like, move. I just kind of shuffled to wherever I needed to be, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I definitely was able to successfully research a little more. But, yeah, it was so stinking cold, and now I got back home, and it's just as cold here in Tulsa, but actually it was worse here in Tulsa. We had that cold front come through, and it's miserable here. And I'm just like, what? It's not supposed to be this way until like January. I'm from the South. I don't do well in this. I don't know what this is. Not a fan. Not a fan.
It don't bother me too much.
Oh. Yes, it did.
All right.
He was shivering too. Don't let him lie to you.
Anyways, so you ready to bring our guest on?
Well, I guess. I guess you're done talking about the weather.
Oh, well, I'm not
all
alone,
right.
So.
Well, you're wrong all the time, so I figured maybe you'd take up a new profession. Oh, good. Okay. Love you.
Yeah.
Okay. So tonight we have Stephen Hill on our show. He is from Southwest Arkansas. He's lived there his whole life. He's always been interested in the weird, which is, pretty much that's the resume of a Bigfoot researcher, is that you're interested in things that other people think's weird or whatever. So Stephen had a sighting in 2009, and even then, after having a sighting, it still took him a few years to come to terms with the fact that these things are real, and also the fact that they live in his part of the country, because being as close to Fouke, Arkansas as he was, he still could not accept that they were in his part of the country. So we're going to bring Stephen on, and we're going to chat about that as well as all the experiences he has had since. How are you doing tonight, Stephen?
I'm doing good. It's good to be on here with you and Dustin tonight, Lauren. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely. We're so glad that you came on. We're eager to talk to you.
Yeah. It's, as you said in the intro there, I was around 2009 there. I had that first sighting. It was around Cosstop Falls is where that took place. The thing crossed the road in front of me. I was on my way home from work. I come down the hill. I just come around the curve. I wasn't going too fast in the truck, and I saw it through the trees on the left-hand side of the road before it got up in the road and it crossed the road, and I don't know, it was 100 yards or less, and I was moving toward it when it crossed the road, and I was thinking that I would be able to see it after it had crossed the road, and when I got up there to where it was at, it was nowhere to be seen. So, and that was one of those things. I tried to convince myself that it was a bear sighting, but after I'd watched videos of bears running, black bears running, which is what we have in Arkansas, There's just they just don't look the same whenever they're moving like that.
So at that time, were you? Dustin and I are both chomping at the bit. Okay, we're both excited to have you on.
All right, you go first, Lauren.
At that time, had you already were you already interested in Bigfoot?
Yes. I was definitely interested in it. I'm pretty sure Monster Quest was already out at that time, and I always tried to watch that every week. And the shows that they would have on there about Bigfoot, I always wanted to watch that, and I'd watched other stuff. I think Bigfootville and some other shows had been out prior to that I always watched, but I just to be honest, I mean, it was something I always had a fascination with, I guess. Mm-hmm. Anything like that, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, any chupacabra, you name it, I always wanted to see. I always wanted to see what kind of evidence was presented on TV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Which is,
Go ahead, Dustin.
Okay, so I was going to ask, what time of day was your sighting?
It was well, I'll go ahead and I'll try to give you the time of year. It was either in December or January. I'm not real sure. The only thing I'm certain of is I know it was the temperature was getting down in probably the low 20s, possibly the teens at night. It was and it was getting dark. Just during the time of year whenever you need to have your headlights on by 5 o'clock, 15 after 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was the time of day that I had the sighting, late in the evening. So,
okay.
Yeah, and most of the sightings that I've had have actually been that time of day, late in the evening. It doesn't matter whether it's wintertime. Usually in the springtime is when I've had most of the sightings that I've actually had. So, let's say March, April, and May. That's usually when I've had most of them. So I don't know, and I don't know for sure why I've had more sightings in the springtime than any other time of year yet. Other than I don't know, maybe they're just I don't know. It's just speculation on my part as to why I've seen them more often then than any other time.
Yeah, one of our areas, a lot of the activity is between January and April, and usually sometimes the rest of the year we don't have any activity out there except for, I think, the latest I think that we've had activity out there was May, June, and then other than that, it's been pretty quiet out there. Now, do you do most of your research out there in near Fouke?
We do. William, who you had on here week before last, William Lunsford is my research partner. So, and we've done quite a bit in Fouke. We've had pretty good success down there as well, and we live about 40 miles apart. And this year we focused more on my area up here closer to my house or where I live at than we did in Fouke. It's just we just had so much going on in the area we refer to it as ground zero for our own. We know what we're talking about when we do that. But we've had a lot of activity there. Williams had a couple of sightings there. I had I saw something there one night. It was that was one of those that I don't know. I guess I'm not going in any particular order with all this stuff, but I've jumped there.
That's all right.
But it's okay. I guess it'll be all right. We can eventually get around to the rest of them. But
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, what it was, we've had from March and late February or March until October, I had some rocks that I would arrange in a certain order on a stump, and we had another little spot right there close to it that we were doing things. And I was going out there. It was already dark whenever I got off work that evening, and I decided to go ahead and go out there and just check on things. And when I got out there, it was one of those times whenever as soon as I opened the truck door, I got creeped out. I got the creeps as bad as I've ever had them in my entire life. So I guess I gave myself a pep talk. You know, quit being a child about this. Just go ahead and go out here and do what you're supposed to be doing, because everything's okay. So I made it out there to the first spot. I parked the truck and I walked on out there to the first area, and the creeps just did not go away. And the only thing I had with me that night, I had a mechanic's flashlight, which doesn't shine very far at all. Maybe one of these times on the outing, I'll try to remember to bring it with me so you can see how far it shines, and it's not very far. So I was out there, and I just, my goodness, that the creeps just wouldn't go away. So I turned my light on, shine around, and my light lit up something that was either white or it was light gray. I don't know for sure which color it was. When I lit that up, I turned my light off and put it back down by my side, and I tried to go back to doing what I was doing, but I couldn't do it. So I turned my light on again, and when I lit it up the second time, I had all that I could take. I left. There's no trash out there, nothing that color out there. Not even right now, since all the foliage has been killed off by the frost. There's still nothing out there that color, and that was. I got in the truck, and it had me so shook up that night that I called William on the way home and talked to him, and it wasn't until I'd been home for probably 30 minutes or longer before I finally started settling down. And that's one of those times that I don't know. I still get the chills whenever I go to thinking about it and thinking of whatever it was I lit up out there that night. It was even to the point when I had I went and did a stress test back during the summer. And on the stress test, you know, they want you to get up to at least 85% when you're on the treadmill. And I forget where I was at 81, 82%, something like that. So the nurse in charge of that stress test, she told me, said I had mentioned to her what my hobby is now. And she said maybe think of a scary encounter or something like that. So I thought back to that night whenever I lit that up, and when I did that, my points jumped 2 points on the stress test. And she's like, I don't know what you did, but it worked. So, and I was able to go ahead and make it on up to 85%. Just thinking about that.
Now,
that was
were
one
you
of
able
those.
to? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, were you able to tell, like how tall or like wide, big? Could you see? Do you think you saw hair, or was it?
I think it was probably the hair is what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. So I don't know. And the light I had, I wish that I'd had one of the lights that I had with me, you know, this past weekend, and then I would have known exactly what it was that I lit up out there. But that was, I don't know. I mean, the thing, I don't know. It was really close. Whatever it was, you know, it definitely wasn't a possum or something like that. It was bigger than that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. And who knows? I don't know. Maybe it was a little one, and there was a big one around there sending a message to me. I'm not sure.
So I asked Will this question when I had him on, or when we had him on. Have you found any of the 3-toed tracks out there, or have you been finding 5s?
Yes, that's one of the pictures I sent you that you had there on the. Remember one of the pictures I sent you? That's actually a 3-toed track. If people can zoom in on that a little bit, that's a clump of dirt to the right-hand side of it. That's not another toe impression. That's a true three-toed track. The big toe itself is 2.25 inches wide, and the width of just those 3 toes is 7.25 wide. So that's with just 3 toes. That's a wide foot.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's not as big and impressive as what the 20-inch track that y'all have is, but it's for a 3-toe track, I thought that was a pretty good track. And it's mostly, I went out there and I did cast that one, and all I have are the toe impressions of the cast. Mm-hmm. But still, there were no claw marks or anything else on it,
Yeah, it still looked pretty good. So go on into any other encounters that you would like to talk about.
I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the biggest one that I've ever seen. It's one that I would say was I'm going to say it was at least 8 feet tall, and the width of the shoulders, if you're familiar with cattle, and I always compare it to about a 1.5-year-old heifer. The distance from her front leg to her back leg, that would be about the width of the shoulders. That's how wide it was across. And that one right there, I was actually in a vehicle when I saw the thing. And that's the one that one shook me. That one shook me bad. After seeing that one, it was 3 months before I even told my wife that I had seen that one. It shook me to my core to see something that size, because I realized that I was looking at a real life monster. There was no growling at me, it didn't scream at me, it didn't do anything. I saw it from a vehicle. But just seeing the sheer size of it, that shook me. I went through a period where I had trouble sleeping at night, simply because I had seen what I had seen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else or not. The fact that I would have that kind of reaction from just looking at one. But I did. It bothered me bad, because the thing was only about 4 miles from my house where I saw it. And it's thinking, if that thing wants to tear the door off the house, it wants to tear the roof off the house, what's going to stop it? Because it was just massive.
And how far away were you from that one?
100 yards, maybe. Not very far at all.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Were you able to?
It was. I'm sorry.
Were you able to see any definition to it, color, or anything like that?
Yeah, that was that one. It had some black. The arms on it looked black, or they were really dark to me. And on the back, it was a gray color. So I don't know if I was seeing. Honestly, not sure if I was looking at the hair being a gray color, or if the skin was a gray color. Because with some of these things, to me, it's a lighter gray-looking color on some of these creatures. Is what it looks like to me.
Now, when you saw it, this was one of the ones that was like a low light situation when you seen it?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, when you saw this one, was it kind of low light, like all the other ones? All right.
Yes. That one there, I actually saw that one in the morning time. It was light outside, but the sun hadn't made it up over the trees yet. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so it was a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering if maybe you saw the black in, like, if you got either flashlight or headlights on it, maybe the way the light was hitting it might have been given part of the silver-looking part, shiny, giving it the silver look.
Oh no, I didn't hit it with the headlights. I mean, it was already light enough that you could see. But you know, I mean, the sun hadn't fully risen at that time of day. It was early. It was in the morning. So.
Okay.
But I mean, I would guess that thing probably weighed between 800 and 1,000 pounds. To give you a better idea of just how massive it was. In the head on the thing, you really couldn't see. For the head, basically all you could see was a bump above the shoulders.
Nope. Nope, don't like that.
yeah.
I don't know why I go out in the woods with you guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty thankful that thing didn't decide to show itself on Saturday night. I would have had to have Steven carry me to the truck.
Well, Lauren, that's why I turned my back on it. I was hoping maybe when I turned my back on it that it would peek out and you could see it.
Well,
yeah.
Would y'all kind of would y'all like to kind of go into that?
Yeah.
For people that don't know the story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steven.
That's one of those deals. Lauren was already down there, and Dustin, you came out and talked to me, and I went down there where she was at, and well, she was telling me, and she was telling me what she's feeling, where she thought it. She didn't directly point it out to me.
Yeah.
I actually pointed to the spot that she was talking about, even though she hadn't told me where it was. And when I pointed, that's when things intensified a little bit, didn't it?
They did. So I had gone, we had all parked, and Dustin had told me, I told, because I'm me, I told everyone I have to pee. And so Dustin, being the gentleman that he is, tells me to go across the road into the deep, dark woods by myself and go, draw up a Bigfoot. And so I did. And I start moving over there to go do that, and I, just like Steven was saying, I hit that creepy spot, that, it's real intense right here spot. And so I kind of pushed against it, and then I pushed against it a little more, and then I decided to go back and tell them what I was feeling. And so I did that, and then Dustin came with me. And I don't remember, Dustin, if you asked me if I saw something or something like that, but I remember go ahead.
Well, you'd been down there for several minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And I yelled down, and I didn't get an answer. So I yelled again, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to have to get closer because she either can't hear me or something's going down. And so I start getting closer, and she walks up, and that's when she has me walk down with her. And I didn't feel – I felt a little creeped out, but I didn't feel what they were feeling. And so I went and I got Steven and had him walk down there to see if he could feel it. And then that's where their story goes in.
Well, I asked, because Dustin had come down there, and he said, do you see anything? And I said, I was like, well, before you walked up that area back there, that tree, I was like, see the white tree in front of the dark spot? I'm like, well, behind that was black, and then when you walked up, it got lighter. I said, but that's where I feel like I've been looking this whole time. And I said, hey, can you send Steven down here, because he's pretty much part squatch, and so I want to know. I said, he's either going to piss it off or scare it off. I said, so if you could send him down here, I want to see what happens if he comes down here. So he comes down there, and he said, I feel like something's right there where that dark spot is with the white tree in front of it. I just feel like it's right there. And it's exactly where I had told Dustin, but Dustin didn't tell him that, and I didn't tell him that. And so we stood there, and I said, I feel this I said, I feel it. I said, I'm just feeling kind of, heavy. Like, I feel that heavy, creeped out sensation. And he said he was feeling it too. And then he said, well, I'm going to turn my back and see what that does. And when he turned his back, it's like someone turned up the volume on it. Like, it was, like, really intense.
Yes. And when I turned my back, after I pointed at it, I could feel the hair on my arm standing up after I pointed. And I turned my back to it.
Yeah.
And when I turned my back to it, well, I felt it on my back. What we were feeling whenever I was facing it, I felt it on my back, and that was now that was new to me. Of course, I'd never turned my back on one like that whenever I've been feeling that before. And with this right here, I know in Fouke, I have seen the chill bumps on William's arms and on my daughter Sydney's arms whenever this was taking place before. So this was not something new to me. This is something I've experienced before. But that whenever I turned my back to it and then I was feeling it on my back, now to me I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I believe that they can control it. And I believe that it was coming from that direction that we both identified. So,
yeah, it was strong, and I had the same chill bumps. I mean, just up and down my whole body, just chills, and then right as soon as, because we were kind of testing it, we were talking about getting closer to it, like moving up on it and making it do something. And about that time, Michael walked up, and it cut off. And then it's like it decided, oh, nope, that's too much, and I'm not going to mess with them no more, and it kind of took off into another direction.
Yes, you're exactly right. I mean, whenever Michael walked up, it stopped. It stopped right then. It didn't. There wasn't any.
Yeah.
Well, there were no lingering effects of it. I mean, it stopped suddenly. When he walked up.
Oh, we have to mention, Michael had, what did he have? He had thermal that he walked up with?
Yeah, he had a Seek. He had a Seek that he was using.
Yeah, so he walks up with that, and I think, well, Squatch ain't stupid and ain't about to get caught, so it was like, it's not worth it, and it went on about its business. So, but yeah, that was pretty interesting. And so we kind of walked down the little fire road there, and we tried to see if we could, get closer and feel it again, or see if we could entice it back. And we didn't really feel anything the rest of the time we were there, so we kind of gave it up and went back to camp. But it was interesting for sure. Yeah,
and that's. I don't know. It's I guess whatever people want to call it. They want to call it infrasound, or they want to call it vibing, or whatever it is. I mean, it's
zinging. I've heard a lot of people say, they got zinged. But I know I went back the next day because I wanted to see what that place looked like in the daylight and see what that tree looked like and all that. So I went back the next day, and that same little spot we were looking at where the we had that feeling, and I saw the black shadow and all that. That same little spot was actually, so you stood behind that white tree, behind the trees, and then real quick, like right behind it, there was a little ravine. So all it had to do was step back, and it was down in that ravine and hidden. And you wouldn't have been able to see it on thermal, anything. So it was really interesting the next day and checking that out.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, with that thing having a low spot where it was at, there's no doubt it knew where it was at and how it could get away and hide. And they're as comfortable on all fours as they are upright, I believe. It's
Yes, I've heard a lot of reports about that. Creeps me out, but I've heard a lot of them.
yeah. I haven't seen the low crawl or whatever people were talking about, but I have seen them move on all fours. So I've seen that more than once. I've never seen one run on two legs, but I don't doubt that they do that. I've had too many reports of them running away on two legs or walking or whatever. So
could you
that was.
tell us one of the ones about them running on all fours?
Well, that one that crossed the road was definitely that right there was out, and to me, it's how fast they can run. There's no way that a white-tailed deer could ever outrun one. They're faster than a whitetail. I'm sure y'all have seen a white-tailed deer running dead out. And there's no way a deer could outrun one. They move quite a bit faster, and they're very smooth.
Were you able to tell if it was running like a chimp or a gorilla running on its knuckles, or?
To me, the closest thing I've seen is probably a chimp. Chimp is actually pretty smooth whenever they're running, on all fours like that. The difference between it that I noticed, or for me, what I think I noticed is that with the chimp sits lower in the back end. The shoulders, the head and shoulders set up a little bit higher than the back end on the chimp. Where this creature here, may not be exactly level, but it's a lot closer to being level than a chimp is. On all fours, yeah. It's okay. I've seen another one it was also in Fouke that was on all fours. That was the time. That was actually a mama and had two little ones with her. I didn't see the little ones. Now, William's son Reese, he saw the little ones, and he also saw the mama, and I saw the mama. And with her, of course, the one that I saw up there by Costop Falls, that one, the top of its back probably came up to maybe the height of the picnic table. So it wasn't just a real big creature. But now the one I saw down there in the Fouke area, the top of her back would have been at least at my waist or higher. She was quite a bit bigger. Yeah. And
that's pretty big.
Yeah. She's a big girl.
So what happened with that encounter? Did y'all just walk up on them, or
we were actually in the vehicle.
Encounter come to be?
Yeah, we were in a vehicle as one of the places where William had an encounter before, and there have actually been several encounters at that spot there at the boat ramp. That was I don't know. It's going to be the boat ramp on the east side over from. You've been to Smith Park, so you know where that's.
Yep.
It's going to be across the highway from that. That is the boat ramp. I think. Was it Mercer?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's where that was at.
I believe that's the same boat ramp that when we were out there 2-3 years ago, that I think I saw something, but I'm not 100% sure because it was June and there were lightning bugs everywhere. So
okay.
I'm just gonna chalk it up to it was just lightning bugs instead of eye shine because I don't know, because it was far enough away to where it lit up, but it went away that as quick as it lit up. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's that wasn't the first encounter I'd had there at the boat ramp. And after the Texas conference in 2018, William and I we came back through there on the way back from the conference, and William got out there. He was doing some calls, and we had one that came from the south up there toward us, and we could hear the thing. We could hear this we could hear the thing coming toward us, and it got up there to the edge of the parking lot, there by one of the big oak trees on the east side of the parking lot, and that's where I saw some eyes shine. And that's after I saw the eye shine, I mean, it disappeared and everything went quiet. You know, we got busted and the game was over. So, I mean, the mama and the babies was actually the second encounter I've had there at that spot.
So, when you had that encounter with the mama and the babies, I know you said Reese seen them, but did y'all just drive up and they just so happened to be off to the side and take off? Or?
Yes. Yeah, that's what it was. They were off to the side, and whenever William got up there, Reese was shining with his spotlight, and I didn't see the babies. Then when I turned my spotlight on, which mine was a little bit stronger than his, that's when I got up to Mama, and they took off. They were right there, not too far off the edge of the parking lot is where they were actually at, and they went on into the woods. Well, after that, my daughter, she was in charge of the recorder that night. My daughter Sydney, she was in charge of the recorder, so she recorded the conversation that Reese and I had about what we had seen. It was because we went into the detail, and I told him what I seen was black, and he was telling me about the round head, which those had round heads. And we actually got out of the vehicle, and we walked up the road a little ways, and we'd been up the road there probably 15 minutes or so, and I did a call, and I got a tree knock in response to it from out there in the woods same woods that they had ran into, which was a call that I'd heard one night here at home. You know, I'd stepped outside to I guess mark my territory, so to speak. Whenever I shut the carport door, I didn't turn any lights on or anything. I just walked outside and shut the door. When I did that one sounded off out there in the woods, and I thought, oh great, we got one that can't even do the calls right out here keeping watch on me.
Yeah.
Was Reese able to tell what color the babies were, or whether they were on 2 feet, on 4 feet, or hanging off of the mama?
Man, William has that recorder. I haven't listened to it in over a year. It's been over a year since we had that conversation. But I think the babies were on all fours as well. You know, I don't hold me to that, because he was kind of excited, and I guess I may have been too, you know, during that conversation. But I didn't get to lay eyes on the babies and know for sure if they were upright or if they were on all fours. All fours. I do know for sure the mama was.
Yeah, I've met Reese. He can get pretty excited.
Yeah. But I tell you what, if you go into a spooky area, he's the guy you want with him, because he'll be able to defend you.
Oh, that is for sure. He had enough firepower when I was out there with him, and that was the safest I've ever been in the woods, and I don't usually not feel safe out there. So Whenever Sydney and I are out with William and Reese, and I decide I'm going to walk out in the woods or something like that, I always tell Sydney, I say, stay right here beside Reese. You stay with Reese until I get back. All right, so go ahead.
Now go ahead if you had a question or something.
Oh, I was going to say, the encounter that you had where you kind of lit up the grayish-white thing, would you say that was your scariest encounter, or do you have one that you think tops that, or something that's close to?
Yeah, that was the scariest that I've ever had. Whenever I actually lit something up or something like that. Most of the time, whenever I see one, I usually get excited. I don't know, bizarre as that sounds, I kind of get excited. It's maybe there's a little bit of a thrill factor in this. I guess being honest, yeah, there probably is. Yeah, I know there is. Because when you're out there and you get to actually see something, and you get to have an encounter with something that's not supposed to exist. Yeah, there's that thrill factor. But,
yeah, I understand that part.
Yeah. It's like I told you Saturday night. Like I tell Michael Waldy all the time. You know, we're all here because we're not all there. You know. and I think in large part there's probably a lot of truth in that.
That is so accurate.
Yeah. You know, we're going out looking for monsters in the dark. Stuff that creatures that can see as well at night as what we can during the day.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to like a dog chasing a car. Like, all right, what are you gonna do with it when you catch it?
Yeah. I hope one never stops so that I can catch up with it. It always makes me feel better when they leave.
Yeah, you're like, all right, I saw you. I'm done for the day.
Yeah, I'm good now. I'm good now. You can go on about your business, and I'll cherish this moment. But that's I don't know. Prior to it was around 2009 first time I laid eyes on one, and then it still after that I still didn't want to believe what I'd seen. But I'd had a few other things that had happened prior to that. It was probably around 2007. It was up there. I'm not sure how many miles it would be from the Albert Pike area. There's a national forest up there. And I was working and I was asleep in my truck one morning, and I don't know, it was probably around 5:30 or something like that. It was summertime. I left the truck idling. It was a diesel engine truck. I left it idling. Had the air conditioner on low with the bench seat in it, and I stretched out and I went to sleep. And about 5:30, something shook the truck hard enough that it woke me up, and I thought, well, my coworkers are here and they're messing with me. And so I got up, opened the door of the truck, walked around the truck, and I'm expecting to see these guys, and they weren't there. And I had no idea. I still don't know for sure what shook the truck that morning. But something shook it hard enough that it woke me up out of a dead sleep. And but there was nothing back there when I walked back there to the back of the truck, which is I have my suspicion as to what I think it was, but I can't prove it. But I've heard a lot of other reports. You know, I've heard I know a guy who lives east of me, and he was out with his girlfriend one night, and they were in their parking spot, and something put its foot on the bumper of his truck and left toe. I don't know. I guess toe marks on the bumper of his truck and a long black hair. So, and it shook him, and then needless to say, they got back to civilization pretty quick. And so I'm thinking along those lines that what shook the truck that morning woke me up. Yeah. But
so I'm not going to
ask you.
I was going to say I'm not going to ask you to do the call on here because it probably wouldn't go over very well. But all right. So for everybody that's listening, Steven has one of the best howls out there, and it sounds
he's part
really
squatch.
good.
I keep telling y'all this.
And and we were trying to figure a way to put the audio on here to play during the show, but Lauren was slacking off. But
listen here,
how long did it take you to get down packed? Because I know you're like, I mean, you've got the owl call down packed, you've got that packed. the dying rabbit call down packed, and you don't use any amount. I mean, you just use yourself. You don't use any actual calls or anything. So.
Well, there are times I cheat with the rabbit call. I will confess to that.
Yeah, the rabbit call. He had in his pocket.
I do cheat.
That was it. Yeah,
call,
he had. Yeah, he had the rabbit call in his pocket, and he pulled it out and didn't tell nobody. He was about to, make us all piss our pants.
Well, see, you weren't there when he first did it.
I thought Dustin was going to run away. I didn't warn anybody before I did that.
Yeah,
no, you didn't.
20 feet away.
And, I'm not that jumpy in the woods, but I jumped about 10 miles in the air when you did that. That one got me. But yeah, Steven, I mean, you do a great howl. Like, it's just, it sounds like, two people doing it at one time, because you're like, it sounds like you use, several sets of lungs to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I've worked on for, I don't know, it's I really started working on that probably 2015, and of course back in 2015 I didn't know anybody in the Bigfoot community, absolutely nobody. William and I, we became friends in 1988, and of course he never told me about his encounter or anything about Bigfoot. He never let on in any way. I had to figure it out later on when we got together. That we actually went Bigfoot hunting in 1988. But yeah, I did. I really started doing that in 2015. I watched Finding Bigfoot, like a lot of people did, and that's part of. And I got to notice, they were doing calls, and sometimes they would say that they would get some responses. So I started working on that stuff. And of course, I had heard some things. It's whenever you hear something when you're sitting on a deer stand and it's not a coyote, it's nothing else. It kind of gives you a little bit to go by there. But I did that, and I had. But I quit doing calls for 2 years. I quit doing calls in August of 2015, and I didn't do another call until September of 2017. Mostly because I didn't know what I was saying to them, and I had is in August of 2015. I'd done a call, and I had the thing answer me, and that's when reality really set in. That what did I just say to this thing that answered me up there at 4:30 in the morning, and I'm out here by myself. And since then, I've kind of slowly worked my nerve back up. It's as I told you, after I saw that big one, I went through a period of time where I had trouble going to sleep. Went through all the, I don't know if it's PTSD or whatever you want to call it. I went through that because it affected me. And since then, I've kind of worked my nerve back up where I'll be on the job, before daylight at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning sometimes, and if there's not any trucks or anything out there, well, I'll go ahead and I'll do calls. And I've been spooked a few times since then. It was on the job one morning, had some owls. I was still working on an owl call, and on that particular morning, it was in I think September of that year. I was trying to have a conversation with the owls, and they were just being snooty, and they wouldn't let me in on the conversation. And I kept doing calls, and I kept doing calls, and they wouldn't answer me. They wouldn't talk back to me. And then that morning when I first got there, I mean, you could see there was enough. It wasn't a full moon or anything, but I mean, you could see how when your eyes adjusted to the dark, you could see the silhouette of the trees out there in the distance. And sometime that morning, not long before daylight, well, for some reason a fog rolled in. And the fog rolled in, and it was so thick that you probably couldn't see 30 yards in front of you. That's how thick the fog rolled in that morning.
Mm.
And I decided to go ahead and do the call that I'd heard here at home. That one that didn't do a very good call, just trying to imitate an owl, and it did a very poor job of it. So I did that, thinking, well, I wonder what the owls are going to do with this. I wish that it had been an owl that answered me that morning. Because about 75 yards away, I got a really loud response from that call. And that was one of those times after I figured out that I wasn't going to have to change my underwear that morning, that I thought, maybe I need to quit. Maybe I need to listen to William and stop doing this stuff out here by myself. But that was I don't know, but like I talked about before, just maybe I am just a little bit of an adrenaline junkie when it comes to some of this. I don't know. I'm sure I could have
just a
better
little
sense.
bit, aren't we all?
Yeah. Everybody needs a little bit of thrill in their life every now and then, though. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I keep saying I'm always looking for my next near-death experience, so.
Oh, keep hanging out with us. It'll probably happen.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, my neighbors are probably about to start getting mad at me because I'm going to be going outside every day and practicing my owl calls and my Ohio howls, because I will be able to get on a ridge down from you and just be able to holler back and forth and maybe just really piss something off.
Yeah. That's something that's I guess in the future that's something I'd like to do, is kind of spread out a little bit and just see. I don't know how far they can hear me whenever I get really loud with a call. And most of the time I try not to get too loud with it, especially if I think they're fairly close. I usually try to soften it up and maybe try to coax them on in, so to speak. If that, I know I don't think I really did that Saturday night, because everything seemed like most of the vocals that we heard on Saturday night, they were pretty good ways off.
Yeah.
Either
that
that
was you
or the
toning
creeks
it
were so
down?
loud we couldn't hear them. Huh?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I don't have to be that loud all the time.
Okay. I'd like to hear your really soft howl then.
Well, I do a different call whenever I'm being soft. I usually sometimes I'll try to growl and just see what happens with that.
Mhm.
So,
yeah,
Stephen, what do you think they are?
Right now, I'm still of the opinion that it's probably North America's great ape. I don't know if I'm correct on that. I'm probably not, because these things are intelligent, and they can think. They're smarter than anything else out there in the woods, and I won't back up from saying that one bit. That's part of what William and I have been working on. It's for me, I've seen several of them, and I talked about I've had rocks on the stump, and I've moved from the rocks to a glyph, and now I'm getting things rearranged on that, and I'm really wishing that I could understand that if these things, are they trying to communicate with me, or is it just, I don't know. I mean, what are they doing? Because they will rearrange things, and I wish I had more understanding of that. I'm just as interested right now in trying to figure out why they do what they do as I am at seeing one. With me, I've been very fortunate or very blessed, I guess, in a sense that I know within the past 3 years of kind of, I'm not saying that they're migrating, but what they do each year seems to be the same thing. And I know during the summertime, sometime in June, usually on toward the end of June, they usually go quiet. I think I've heard one howl that wasn't a response to me during the summer months in 3 years. They'll go quiet during the summertime. It's usually sometime mid to late September. I'll start hearing them again, and I'll usually hear them all winter long. On into the spring, I usually hear vocals that I'm not getting them to make the vocals. They're doing it on their own. And each year, sometime around the end of June, they go quiet again. And I kind of think they move out for a little while. They will come back because I have seen them in July before, and I have seen them in September. But the times that they show back up around here, it's a lot more spaced out than what it is during the winter months in the springtime. And things like that. That's what I'm really interested in right now, because I know for 3 years in a row they've done the same thing. I can't set a date and tell you exactly what day they're going to be back, because it seems to vary. But they do have somewhat of a pattern that they go through, from my observation.
So does the pattern include somewhere around the beginning of December, or?
Yeah, well, it's usually in September. That's when they start becoming more vocal again.
Awesome.
I don't know exactly why they get quiet in the summertime. I honestly don't. Maybe there's somebody out there who knows more about it, or they've been observing this longer, and maybe they have an answer. Usually, a lot of times it seems there are times that William and I we've called them up during the summer, back in July, and they seem to be spread out. They're not grouped up together as much. So, and that's also interesting. It's just like the ones in Oklahoma. Those things, they throw more rocks in Oklahoma, I think, than they do here in Arkansas.
We've had rock throwing incidents.
Yeah, they a bunch of rock throwing boogers over there. It's around here they don't seem to throw as many rocks. They will throw stuff. There's a place that William and I were going to during the summertime. It's a spot that's in between us. Is pretty convenient for both of us to go to, because things have slowed way down at ground zero. And in that particular area, they do more tree knocks there than any place I've ever been. And I don't know if it's simply because there's all the hardwood, but around here, there's a bunch of hardwood, but they don't do near as many tree knocks. I don't. And this right here is the thing that I'd love to find out more, about.
Yeah.
Is why they behave differently in this certain area than they do over here.
Well, I was wondering, how you said, they're only vocal during certain times of year. Do you think we could kind of contribute that to, like white-tailed deer? Like, in when the colder months in November or like late October, November, December, the deer are in pre-rut and they're rutting, and it's their mating season. Do you think that they're more vocal when it's during mating season? Possibly.
That could be. It's that's another thing that I've thought about and I've heard people talk about before. Is once the summer months are gone and all that browse and all that vegetation out there that they were able to feed on disappears, they probably have to hunt. They probably have to start hunting then, and they have to. A lot of times, from what I've listened to some people that I trust say, they'll get together as a group and do a hunt. I believe that's what some of these little blinds or things like that may be. They'll drive one to a spot, say if it's a deer or whatever, a hog. They'll push them, which people do that. I've known in times past, when I've been with hunting club or whatever, it's ground, if it's real dry and the dogs can't pick up a scent, well, you get a bunch of people and you just have the people start walking through the woods, and they'll have your standers on the other side of the woods and push the deer out towards them. So, which is something I've done and been involved with before. I kind of think that these creatures are smart enough to do something like that as well.
And y'all have actually found a lot of structures down there. I know Willis sent me a couple of pictures of the ones he's found, and they're pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah. There are more down there in the Fouke area than there actually are here where I'm at. For whatever reason, I don't know. They seem to. I don't know if they're just showing off, trying to impress the ladies, or what they've got going on down there. But they seem to do more stuff down there than they do here. It's in some of these places here where I've seen them, where I've had sightings and stuff. You're not just going to find just a whole lot of sign that they're even here. You'll find some tree breaks and you'll find some bows, but it's not near as much as what you'll find down there. And that seems to be a little bit different. I'm talking you don't have to move very far at all to find slightly different habits with them as far as the tree manipulations and things, or rock throwing or tree knocks.
So, has there been anything else that you've seen that you couldn't necessarily explain, like any other kind of weird creatures or like ghosts, UFOs?
Yeah, I've seen some strange lights in the sky before. I will say that it's of course, I can't prove that it was an actual UFO or anything like that. I don't. Who knows? It might have been our government with some kind of top secret stuff that people weren't supposed to be paying attention to. But yeah, that's yeah. With that right there, that's we do have a picture of. I don't know. I guess I should have sent you that so y'all could have seen it. It's I do have a game camera picture of some blue. I don't know. I don't know. It's something blue out there, and it's probably 7 or 8 feet up off the ground, and there's nothing for a coon to be standing on for it to be a coon. So I don't know exactly what they are. I'll send you the picture, and you'll know as much about it as I do after you see it. But yeah, there's sometimes there's some strange things out there, and I think people who spend enough time out there, sooner or later you're gonna see some stuff that you don't necessarily know how to explain. And I think the world is full of stuff that we don't fully understand. You know, and I believe there's stranger things out there than what most people are comfortable admitting to actually being out there. I'll go ahead and say that. You know, as far as me, I can't say that I've ever seen a ghost. I have had some odd things happen, even at my house before. You know, it's, I guess one of the odd things I've had happen. I was a few years ago. I like to whenever I hunt, I like to process my own deer. I guess I'm kind of picky with it, and I want to make sure it's done the way I want it done. Mm. And I was processing deer in the kitchen, and I had the back door open to the house, and there was no wind that day. It was a nice day. We had the windows open, we had the door open. There was just no breeze at all. And I'd opened the back door, and I was in there processing deer, and for some reason my door shut. So I get up and I go back there and I open the door again. And I hadn't much more than sat down and the door shuts again. So I get up and I go open the door again. When the door shuts that last time, I done got a little upset by that point, and I just said out loud, I want the door left open. And I opened the door, and the door didn't shut again that day until I closed it. so I don't know. People can think of that whatever they want to think of it, but that's kind of my odd story at home there. But we've William and I don't know, with Dustin and Lauren, have y'all both experienced it whenever everything just goes quiet out there in the woods?
Yes, that's what I was saying Saturday night. It was, I kept commenting, I said, y'all, I said, there was one cricket when we pulled up in front of the truck, one cricket. And then after we'd been there a minute, it shut up. And there was nothing else in the woods until we heard, I don't know if it was a fox or a big cat. I haven't honestly tried to go listen to it, but there was something out there making a weird noise, but I don't think it was squatch related. But other than that, it was completely silent the entire night.
Yeah, I think that was either a fox or a bobcat out there yelling off in the distance, out there looking for love. But but yeah, we had that. It was the weekend of Kenobi when we got a little bit nervous, and it was me, Lauren, and our friend Kendall, and we all three started feeling kind of like maybe we should get in the truck instead of just staying at the back of it, because we had lights out. It was almost dead quiet, and we got in the truck, and we weren't there very long, and then we left.
Yeah, it's kind of funny whenever that happens. It was in 2017, September 2017. My wife was cleaning the pool. I was inside the house, and the kids were inside the house. And I'm going to say it's probably 6 or 6:30 in the evening. And she comes in the house and says, come out here and listen to this. So I go outside, and I'm listening, and I looked at her, and I said, what do you want me to hear? She said, listen to that. There's no noise. And that time of year in Arkansas, the tree frogs are out, crickets are out. There's all kinds of noise going on, birds, everything else. It's not quiet. But at that particular time, it was just deathly quiet. And that was the first time that I think she'd ever experienced that. Earlier this year, William and I, we were actually driving down the road, and we got to witness that happen firsthand. On that night, there wasn't anything happening at Ground Zero, and so we drove north of there. and I was probably going 4 or 5 miles an hour in the truck. We were just barely creeping down the road, hoping something might run across the road in front of us. And we were going by a wooded area on my side of the truck, and when I guess when I got even with it, something whistled at us out of the woods. So I guess me being me, I whistled back at it. And after I whistled at it, the next thing that happened was everything just shut up instantly. I mean, it went deathly quiet all at once. There wasn't part of it got quiet right here around the truck and part of it got quiet down the road. It all shut up at one time. And if that'd been on William's side of the truck, I probably would have stopped the truck and told him to go out there and look around and see what you'd see. But it was on my side of the truck, so I kept going down the road. But that was something that we got to witness firsthand that happened. So I mean, this is real. This is a real thing that does happen, and I've experienced that several times, and sometimes it's kind of eerie whenever everything is just quiet, because there's stuff out there that should be making noise, and what has taken place that caused it all to go quiet. So people talk about infrasound, they talk about ultrasound, and it's I guess wherever they are with it, that's where they are with it. But that type of thing does happen.
Yeah, that's only happened to me a couple of times, but I've never had an encounter when it got quiet. It just would get really quiet, and it mainly happens when I'm out hunting. It'll get really quiet for a little while after I've already been there, for an hour or two, and then it'll get really quiet, and then after a few minutes, everything kicks back in, and it's like, wow, that's what the hell did that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when everything gets so quiet, it's just deathly quiet. That's if you're paying attention at all, that'll really make you wonder what caused it. What's out here that made that happen? Because a lot of times, if you ride a four-wheeler into the area, the squirrels might quit and get quiet for a little while, but the birds will usually just keep doing what they're doing because they're not bothered by it. But, as far as the frogs, I mean, good luck trying to make those things shut up.
Oh, man, the time we went to Fouke, it was in June, and like to this day, I could still hear those frogs out there out Smith Park. It was almost deafening how loud those frogs get.
Oh,
it about drove us insane.
Mhm. Yes, and there are times the frogs are so loud that it makes it difficult hearing the responses. I mean, it sounds. I don't know how many of them. I don't know how many of them are out there, but it seems like there's way too many. I'll say that because that's my wife and I. We were out, and I had stopped on the bridge there on the Oklahoma-Arkansas line, real close to it, and I got out and I done some calls and I got some responses, and my goodness, it wasn't real easy to hear the responses because of the frogs. They were just that loud, and there were so many of them.
Yeah, I think when me and the other SBA guys, after we got done with that trip, we decided we weren't coming back to Fouke unless it was winter time. Because we went deaf from the frogs. We got almost grabbed and taken off by the mosquitoes, but the mosquitoes were fighting the chiggers that were getting our ankles. So it got pretty bad down there when we were there. So I'm looking forward to get back. So, but when it's nice and cold.
Yeah, you have to you just about have to be desperate to want to go Bigfoot hunting in the summertime here in the South. It's there's so much. Yeah, I mean, between the mosquitoes and chiggers and frogs and everything else, that's it makes it difficult. It makes you really question if that's what you should have been doing instead of being in a pool or somewhere else, you know.
In air conditioning.
Anywhere else.
Yeah, anywhere but there. Why am I out here sweating at 10:30 at night? You know, it's when I could be at home in the air conditioning.
Yeah, well,
what was it
when
you said? We're all out here. All of us out here, but we ain't all here.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're all here because we ain't all there. Yeah.
Yes, that.
Yeah. That really makes it hit home during the summertime when you're out there.
Yeah.
Oh, you drive into some spooky place with a narrow road and knowing good and well if they throw a tree down, you're probably going to be in trouble. But that's
well, Lauren, do you have any other questions?
I do not. I don't. Stephen, we have really, really enjoyed talking to you. You have been a great guest, and we really appreciate you coming on and sharing all your experiences and thoughts with us.
Yeah, we really enjoyed having you on here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here with you. So, and I really did enjoy going out there Saturday night. That was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing that again.
Oh yeah, hopefully next time. Yeah, hopefully next time our main area won't be flooded, and it'll be a whole lot easier for me to figure out where I'm going.
Yeah.
I thought you did pretty good.
Yeah, you did. You did good Saturday night. You did.
I appreciate it.
Once
I think we should.
I was not expecting.
Yeah, I think we should give Michael Waldy a little shout out because I kind of scared him quite badly. So I'll tell this story real quick and then we'll end the show. So we were aiming to get to this one ridge, and we looked on the GPS when we had signal, and we were like, all right, we need to go down here, turn right, and then we'll go all the way around this ridge and come to this one spot where we want to get to. Well, there's two different roads to get to it. You can either take the long way or the short way. Well, we decided, we're going to take the short way. So Stephen is in front of me in his truck, and in my truck, I have Lauren, Mary, Elijah, Kendall, all in the front, and then we only had Michael and Sydney in the back of the truck, like the bed of the truck. Well, we're gunning it down this road, and we go through this big, it was basically a pond. We just flew through, and we keep going, and Steven hits the brakes, so I hop out to go see what's wrong. Well, the road disappears. Like, there's no road. And I'm like, all right, well, let me back up, and we'll get turned around, and we'll go the opposite direction. Well, I wasn't paying attention to how wide the road was, so I didn't think I could turn around because I was trying to pay attention to everybody else. So I tell Michael, I'm like, all right, hold on. Well, I start backing all the way up, and I get to that pond, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're backing up to the first hold on. Are we about to jump something? He was panicking in the back of the truck thinking we were about to take a running start at whatever we were about to do.
I think you were not in the same truck I was in, because Michael Waldy was not panicking at all. Whenever you said, hold on, he said, yeah. Aw.
True. Okay, that is true. He said afterwards that he was kind of worried, and then he was just like, "Screw it, yeehaw."
So funny.
Yeah,
He thought we were about to Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, I believe if you had tried jumping that, though, your truck would still be there.
I think I think Michael would have went for he would have been Superman for a few seconds if I had tried to jump that.
Yeah, he would have.
But that's all I got tonight.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Lauren? Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, I enjoy getting to meet getting to meet all the folks up there. You know, Elijah and Sydney and Charles and Cynthia and Mary.
Yeah.
So that was Kendall. That was a fun time. So.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come back out with us, and we really enjoyed your company and your calls, and we really enjoyed having you on tonight with us.
Oh yeah. I look forward to doing it again, and hopefully next time we won't have a full moon, and we can get a few more vocals
and get away from running water.
Yes, the running water, that was.
So we really appreciate you coming on, and can't wait till the next outing. Anything else, Lauren?
I look forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on, and everyone, just if you enjoy our show, be sure to like, share, do all those things, and if you are not able to listen live, you can go check our YouTube, Stitcher, or Apple Podcast is where we're at, and check our Facebook for updates on new guests. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it a night. Again, Stephen, thank you for coming on, and we will see everyone else next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Night Callers Bigfoot Radio.